Hey, my name is David Nin. I am the director of publicity at Kino Lorber and a NewFest friend, and I am very excited that you all just got to see Twilight's Kiss. And we are here with Ray Young, who is coming to us from Hong Kong, and I am in New York. And Ray, welcome.
Hello, hi, David. Hi, everybody.
Just for background, Ray and I met in New York or in San Francisco, and then in New York again when his previous film front cover was on the festival circuit. So I was really, really proud and excited when NewFest asked me to do the Q&A with you and catch up with you properly. So congrats on this beautiful film. There's so much.
Long time, right?
There's just so much to
thank you.
Yeah, I was recently on a panel about queer visibility where, I discussed this film because, I'm in my early 40s and I feel like I haven't even seen a film where you see an Asian elder romance, and one that's done really poetically and beautifully, and it's very lyrical. All of the reviews I read are calling it, lyrical, tender, and just very, very special. I know that when you were looking into doing this film, one of the things that inspired you, I read, was that you had read an oral history of elder Hong Kong seniors. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Well, after front cover, I purposely moved back to Hong Kong. That's like 2015 to make a feature in Cantonese because originally I'm from Hong Kong, but I've never made a movie in Chinese language before. So I was looking for, sort of like ideas, and then I came across this book called The Oral Histories of Older Gay Men in Hong Kong. It's actually written by a friend of mine who's a Hong Kong University professor called Travis Kwong. And basically, it's a collection of 12 interviews of elderly gay men who are in their 60s to 80s years old. And after I read it, I thought, wow, this is very interesting because it's never really, not even about movies. You just don't really hear about this at all, So I asked him to introduce some of the interviewees to me. And he said some of them passed away already. So I felt, wow, there's really an urgency to tell this story. So I met up with some of the interviewees and we became friends. And I basically started reimagining what the story would be like if they start meeting each other and have a romance now. So that's how the script came along.
Great. So the two characters are sort of a compilation of some of the stories that you met and some of the people that you met in real life.
Yes, I think some of their own experiences, their philosophy in life, some of their histories and things like that. So all combined together, it's really like some of the people from the book and some of the people I actually met, and some of the my own observations all combined together.
Yeah, I guess with Hong Kong and their society, I just sort of wrongly probably assumed that it's very much an open culture in regards to sexuality. What I was struck with the film, especially with the two characters, there's a lot of, issues regarding family duty and sacrificing of one's happiness in order to focus on the family and their partners. And these are working class men who are meeting secretly and cruising, old school cruising and really trying to search for a connection within the bathhouse. Do you feel that that Hong Kong society right now is still reflective of that, or do you feel it's gotten a little bit more progressive?
It's a very interesting Hong Kong in a way is very separated, very divided in a way. I mean, you have like I run the Hong Kong Lesbian Gay Film Festival for 20 years already. So in a way, in the central area or Hong Kong side, most likely you have a very middle class people, and then they have their kids, and the kids are all like grown up now, and they're all very kind of like westernized and open, and everybody seems to really open and accepting. But when you're over there in Kowloon Sai, it's very, very different, particularly the deep in Kowloon Sai, where really the movie is based. And also, which are a lot more working class people. And then on top of that, I'm talking about a generation that's much older. And in that era, it's very different, mainly because homosexuality was illegal when they were in their primes. Yeah. So like it decriminalized in the 90s in Hong Kong. So when they were in the 70s or 80s, when they were in their 20s or 30s, that was the time that homosexuality was illegal. And that has a lot of effects in your life because, well, basically the laws can say that you are wrong. They can arrest you. Or if you meet someone, anything goes wrong, that guy can blackmail you. He could go to the police, or he could go to your workplace. And if you will be fired, and you will never get a job again. And of course, you'll bring a lot of shame to your family. So all that kind of things will make you feel very, very difficult to come out or be proud of yourself, because you feel that even the law or the society do not accept you. And for them, they just carry that shame, just carry that guilt up to now. I mean, even though, yes, you know, maybe now in their 60s, they hear that, oh, well, there's gay marriage going on. They see that gay bars or gay clubs, but they are really left out. And a lot of the shame is already inside for many years. So it's very difficult for them to suddenly like come out and say, oh, yes, you know, I will embrace this just because over in America, this is acceptable. Over in Europe, this is acceptable. Within their own family, their own sort of like friends, that social circle, they are still not accepted.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of acceptance, you know, one of the things I was really struck by was how they did find acceptance with each other underground, you know, in the bathhouses. And it wasn't just, you know, a place to hook up. It was for them a place of community, and they would watch TV together. They would cook meals together, and they ate full meals together. So I thought that was really, really beautiful, because for them, they could just be themselves in the space. So how did you explore that? Or did you go to bathhouses and observe, or how did you do the research for that?
Yes, because when I was interviewing some of the guys, and then they said, well, there's this place which they would welcome elderly gay men to go, because there are other bathhouses in Hong Kong, and they just do not welcome them. And if they, you know, they said that they have gone to bathhouses, and then they wanted to go in, and then they would say, oh, this is members only. Well, and then a younger guy and muscle boy comes in, and they are, you know, welcome to go.
Ageism, they probably were rejected for going.
Yeah, yes. So, but this one particular one welcomed them, so they all tend to go to this one. So I went to visit, and it was very interesting. I went at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was packed, the whole place. It was like, you know, a community center. By 6:30, everybody left. So I asked the receptionist, I said, how come people leave so early? And then they said, well, because a lot of them have families, so they have to go home to have dinners with their wives or kids or whatever. So it was really interesting, because like the place, like part of it is like, you know, you have the usual dark rooms and, you know, where you can find, you know, but there's a big space of it. It's like a TV room, and they don't show shows now. It's like 1980s TV from TVB, or, you know, or 1980s movies. And then, yes, 2 karaoke rooms, and one, they play Chinese opera, and they were singing Chinese opera, right? It's like, where do you see that? And then another one is they kind of like play 1970s Mandarin songs. So then they sing that. So it's very, very retro, very nostalgic. And then they have a mahjong room where they play mahjong. And then at the weekends, then the mahjong room will turn into kind of like a mini canteen dining room where people all sit together like a family in a big table and share food. Wow, you know, in Chinese style, where they have different dishes. So it's like a family. So I just think, wow, this is unique, right? Because like in the West, you certainly don't have something like that.
Were you surprised by that, or did you already know that there was a place like this?
I was very surprised. So I thought, well, I have to sit down and eat this meal, right? And it looks good, right? It wasn't like, you know, like leftovers. They look good. So I sat down and then I start like, well, what should I do? So I wanted to eat and they said, oh, no, 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 you can't just sit down and eat like that. I said, oh, really? They said, you have to register at the reception, tell them the number, and later on they will tell you because they have like 2 or 3 different, you know, stuff like shifts. So if you register later, then you can't eat on this shift. It has to be 45 minutes later from this table is clear, then you can sit on the exact sitting, basically. So I learned that.
Yeah. Now I want to go check it out just to eat the food and check it out.
Yeah. Okay. In the movie, we enhanced it. The food is not as good as the one that we had in the movie, but you know, it's still decent. It's still
in the community. So yeah. I mean, these performances are incredible, and I know that I don't want to mess up their names. The veteran actors, they are known. Tai Bo and Ben Yoon. What was the casting process like to finding them and then getting them to do this film?
Yeah, it took a long time. It took over a year. I mean, I tell you, I've never been rejected by so many men in my life before. There was just a lot of no's. I said, "Oh my God, what's going on?"
No, because of the queer, because it was a gay story, or what do you think?
Well, mainly because of the age. Because I was looking for actors who are in 65 to 75, that age range, and a lot of actors from that age range, they used to be martial arts actors from the Shaw Brothers or TVB, playing swordsmen or playing detectives or anything like that, very, very macho roles. So they're all very concerned about their images. So a lot of them said, first question is like, why me? Why do you think I want to play this? So I said, oh, okay, all right. And then after that, some of them said, well, okay, I'm interested, but I will not hold hands. I will not be topless. I will not kiss. I will not do this. So a whole list of things that they said they won't do. So I never called them back. So there was really only about, 20 of them said, okay, I'm interested, and I read the script. And for those ones, then I kind of like do chemistry tests and finally find them. Tai Bo was living in Taiwan at the time, so I actually had to fly to Taiwan to talk to him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I gave him the script, and then he said, okay, I will read it and I'll get back to you. And it took him like a month or so. And then mainly the reason was that he had to give it to his wife, and his wife had to approve it, So that was...
I guess she approved it because he gave a really believable performance.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I know that it won Hong Kong Film Critics Awards. It seems, from what I could tell in the press, it was accepted. What were the audience reactions like when this released in Hong Kong?
I think all the awards really help us because we started off opening 60 cinemas. So for like low budget LGBT movies about senior, that is quite something. So so I went to a lot of the pro-screening Q&As, and then I actually met a lot of the audience who are like in their 50s, straight couples. So, a lot of them said, especially the men, they're very, very curious. The husbands say that, this is the first gay film I've ever seen in my whole life.
Wow.
And it's very interesting because I always have this idea that gay people are fashion-y, they are, young, they are, fabulous, but actually your movie showed me that anybody could be gay. You would never know. It could be a taxi driver, it could be a bus driver, it could be
a relative.
Yeah. So they said, now I'm going to see it differently. And I can really see why it is so difficult for them to be themselves because of all that tie to the family, especially if they have kids. So it really opened up, the world for these people. And they said, I never ever think about this topic until this movie. Your movie really let me know that these people exist and actually aware of this kind of topic. So I think that's very good. So I asked them, I said, well, so what attracted you to come and see this movie and not other gay movies? So they said, well, really, the main reason is because of all the awards. I'm curious to see why. So that's why I come to see it. So I think, so that helps.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it was groundbreaking because you really showed a spotlight shined a spotlight, I'm sorry, onto almost a subculture, you know, and you know, I'm sure, like you said, the younger queers in Hong Kong are accepted and they're out and they're proud. One of the things I thought the film did really well was not only show them at the bathhouse congregating and being a community, but they also, outside of the bathhouse, they would have their secret meetings, and there were the younger characters were encouraging them to speak out so that they could start, you know, a LGBT community home or a senior community center. So do those exist in Hong Kong, or is there a push for that? Because, you know, I think at the end when the one guy is speaking to the Congress, it's really emotional.
Yes, I think when I was doing the research for the film, I came across this group called Gay and Grey. It's a social group. They meet like once a month, basically, usually. And then afterwards, they will have like a little meeting in the social worker's home or something. And they would talk about, you know, different topics. Sometimes it's just about traveling, or sometimes, you know, about health issues or legal issues. But there was one time that they were talking about elderly home. And then the discussion was that a lot of them said that they wouldn't go. The reason is like the ones who are in the closet with their wives and kids, of course, they wouldn't go because they would never want them to know. So they would never go to an elderly gay home for gay people only. While the gay ones said that they would go, they wouldn't go to a normal, a regular one, because they feel that if they go to a regular one, that they might have to go back into the closet. So they are afraid that they'll get discriminated. So therefore, so the discussion carries on for a few weeks. So eventually there was a chance that at the LACO and the government, they have a place where people can go and voice their opinions. So one of the activists of this Gay and Grey, he decided to go and make a speech. And he was so good and so emotional. Of course, nothing came out of it, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, he got a chance to say it, and I thought that was so powerful. So I asked him, I said, "Do you want to be in the movie?" So he said, "Okay, you think that I can." So his name is Sime Lei. So he was cast, and he actually plays himself. He plays.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so he's that.
No, that's really beautiful.
Yeah,
and then he redid his speech.
It's basically his own speech. It's the speech that he actually said at the real event. So I basically just moved the whole thing into the movie and basically recreated it. Yeah.
Well, we have one more question left, and congratulations that the film has U.S. distribution now, with Strand releasing, with my dear friend Marcus Hugh, who I actually was on a panel with him last week about one of Greg Araki's films, and I've been a big fan of his work, and I'm so glad you're going to be part of the Strand canon. I know with COVID going on and the pandemic, audiences at NewFest really got a first sneak peek at this. So I think when we discuss, hopefully it'll be released early next year.
Yes. Well, when the cinemas open, then I think we will show it like maybe a few months after the cinemas are open.
Yeah.
Really depending on how the situation goes. I mean, it's so unpredictable now, but yeah, hopefully.
And then just one sub question after that, what is going to be your next project? Because, you know, from Front Cover, that was sort of a comedy, but, you know, still very much about being under the radar. And then you have this really beautiful film. What do you think you want to do next, or are you working on something next?
Well, the issue with the pandemic is that the whole promotion of this movie has been really delayed. And, you know, because the original plan was to release the film in US in September, and then France, and then all the different places. So it was all lined up. But now, because it's so unpredictable, so these things has moved to next year. So, and I'm doing a lot of Zoom Q&As and things like that. So it's really been delayed. And so I'm researching, but I haven't really put my head into a new project yet. Yeah.
Great. Well, I am so excited that I got to catch up with you properly through this Q&A, and I can't wait till you come back to New York and I can take you to Julius again for drinks. one day and we can continue discussing the film. But congratulations on its success and it playing at NewFest. And I just want to thank everybody who's watching for watching the film. Please talk about it and encourage your friends to see it. Everyone go to newfest.org to catch the film and more other really amazing films. And they have 120 films this year. There's a lot for you to choose from. And they do year-round programming. I'm a member, become a member and support it. And thanks a lot for tuning in.